Everyone thinks SpaceX is a rocket company. But here's the secret its IPO just exposed. The rockets lose money. The thing actually printing billions is an internet service, beamed down from more than 9,000 satellites circling the planet. And it's quietly funding Elon Musk's entire empire. So how did a side project become the cash machine that pays for the rockets? Stick with me, because once you see how this works, you won't look at SpaceX the same way again. By the end of this, the rockets are going to look like the marketing, and something far more boring is going to look like the real business. When you picture SpaceX, you picture a rocket clearing the tower. Fire, smoke, the countdown. That's the show. The business is something else entirely. The business is a flat white dish bolted to a roof, in rural Montana, in a village in Nigeria, on a boat in the middle of the ocean, pulling internet out of the sky and charging a monthly fee for it. And it didn't start as the main event. SpaceX put its first batch of Starlink satellites into orbit in 2019 and switched on service for customers the year after. The pitch was simple. There are billions of people and places on Earth where laying cable or building cell towers makes no economic sense. Too remote, too empty, too expensive. Starlink skips all of it. You buy a terminal, you point it at the sky, and you pay a monthly bill. No trenches, no towers, just a signal from space. Here's the move at the center of everything. Putting those satellites up there costs a fortune. Rockets, hardware, years of work. But that cost is mostly spent once. The constellation is already in orbit, so when the next customer signs up, SpaceX doesn't have to build anything new. It just switches them on. The cost of adding that one extra customer is close to zero. And the money they pay every single month? Almost all of it is profit. Think about what that actually means. A normal hardware company has to build a new product for every new sale. Starlink doesn't. It built the factory in the sky once, and now it just adds names to a list. That's not how a rocket maker behaves. That's how software behaves. And analysts have said exactly that. Starlink's margins look less like a hardware business and more like a tech platform, because every new subscriber is high-margin recurring revenue at near zero extra cost. Build it once. Bill forever. That is the money machine. Now, watch the machine spin up, because the speed is the part that should make your jaw drop. In 2023, Starlink had 2.3 million paying customers. By the end of 2024, that doubled to 4.4 million. By the end of 2025, it doubled again to 8.9 million. And by March of 2026, it hit 10.3 million subscribers across 164 countries, served by roughly 9,600 satellites overhead. Sit with that. The paying base more than doubled in 2 years. Most companies would kill for that kind of growth in a decade. And analysts at Quilty Space think it's nowhere near finished. They project Starlink could reach almost 17 million subscribers by the end of 2026. Every one of those new names plugs into a system that's already built and already paid for. And the dish on the roof is only half the story. SpaceX has been launching a second fleet. Hundreds of satellites built to talk straight to ordinary phones. No special equipment. The idea is brutal in its simplicity. Kill the dead zone. If your phone loses signal in the mountains, the satellite catches it. That service already reaches millions of devices a month across dozens of countries, which means Starlink's customer isn't just the person in the remote cabin anymore. It's anyone, anywhere, whose phone has ever dropped a single bar. And here's the thing. These aren't all just households. Walk through who's actually paying Starlink every month. Families in places the cable companies never bothered to reach. Businesses that need a connection where there simply isn't one. Cargo ships and cruise liners in the middle of the ocean. Emergency crews dropped into disaster zones where the towers are already gone. Even governments and militaries, who started signing up for a dedicated, hardened version of the service back in 2022. Wildly different customers, wildly different needs. but every single one of them pays the exact same way. A bill, every month, forever. The machine doesn't care who you are. It just keeps collecting. So you've got the model and you've got the growth. Now here's the part Elon Musk didn't want you to see until going public forced his hand. Because when SpaceX filed to list its shares, the real numbers finally came out, and they told a story almost nobody expected. In 2025, Starlink generated $11.4 billion. That's 61% of every dollar SpaceX brought in. And in the first quarter of 2026, that share didn't shrink. It climbed to 69%. The satellite internet isn't a side business anymore. It's becoming the whole business. Let me make that number real for you. $11.4 billion is more than the entire yearly revenue of most companies you could name off the top of your head, earned by a service you've probably never used, from a dish you'll never notice on a stranger's roof. That's how quietly this thing got enormous. But revenue is just the top line. Here's the part that actually matters. Starlink was the only division at SpaceX that turned a profit in 2025. The only one. It earned $4.42 billion in operating income with an adjusted profit of $7.17 billion, up 86% in a single year. And in just the first 3 months of 2026, it pulled in $3.26 billion in revenue and $1.19 billion in operating income. Now compare that to the part of the company everybody actually celebrates. The rocket division, the launches, the landings, the records, brought in only a fraction of Starlink's revenue, and in 2025, it lost money. Around $657 million. And the AI side of the company? It lost more than $6 billion. SpaceX poured nearly $13 billion into AI in 2025 alone, and another $7.7 billion in just the first quarter of 2026. So picture the whole empire for a second. The famous rocket business, in the red. The AI business, deep in the red, burning cash by the billions. And one quiet dish-on-a-roof business, carrying all of it on its back. And here's the twist most people miss completely. Look closely at the growth, and something strange jumps out. As Starlink added millions of customers, the average amount each one paid actually went down to somewhere around $81 a month. Prices fell, and profits still exploded. How? Because volume won. When each new subscriber costs almost nothing to serve, you don't need to charge more, you just need more of them. And SpaceX added them faster than almost any company in history. Cheaper service, more customers, more total profit. That's the flywheel. So what does Musk actually do with all that cash? He feeds it to the things that can't pay for themselves yet. In February of 2026, SpaceX merged with Musk's artificial intelligence company, xAI. The plan includes something that sounds like science fiction. Data centers in orbit, computing power floating above the planet. That burns money. The rockets burn money. The Mars program burns money. And the satellite internet subscribers? They're quietly bankrolling every bit of it. One analyst described it as a flywheel. The cash from today's customers funds the technology that wins tomorrow's customers. And round it goes, all of it pointing, eventually, at Mars. Every household streaming a movie through a Starlink dish is, in a small way, helping pay for a rocket to another planet. But a machine this good doesn't go unnoticed. Amazon is building its own constellation to chase the exact same prize, launching hundreds of satellites, lining up dozens more flights. So why isn't Musk losing sleep? Because of everything you just learned. Starlink already has the satellites up, the customers signed, and the cost spent. A rival has to burn years and billions just to reach the starting line Starlink crossed long ago. The head start is the moat, which brings us to the moment all of this was building toward. On June 12, 2026, SpaceX went public on the NASDAQ under the ticker SPCX. The shares priced at $135. They opened at $150. They briefly shot past 176. And when the dust settled, the company was worth about $2.2 trillion. And Elon Musk became the world's first trillionaire. $2.2 trillion. For a company whose most famous product loses money on every single launch. And make no mistake about what investors were actually paying for. It wasn't the rockets. It was the recurring revenue, the millions of monthly bills that land whether or not a single rocket leaves the ground that month. They weren't buying the launches. They were buying the machine. So here's the reframe to leave you with. The rockets get the headlines. The launches get the slow motion replays, the crowds, the countdowns, the goosebumps. But it was never the rockets paying the bills. It was the quiet internet in the sky, millions of small monthly payments raining down from orbit, from dishes nobody ever looks at twice, that built the money machine. The rockets are the dream. Starlink is the engine. And if Elon Musk is right, that engine, one $81 subscriber at a time, might just be the thing that finally pays our way to Mars.